All right, another day, another Andrew Tate story. This is crazy. Like, this is like the dead zone of MMA news, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, here's a Andrew Tate arrest, and here's a new story every single day. So Andrew Tate's got a girl coming out to speak on this situation, someone who knows him very well, someone who might be called one of his first victims. Victims, you know? Like, you guys might remember a story where Andrew Tate, which fooled a lot of people, actually. I've spoken about this on the channel before. A video of him supposedly slapping a girl around and pulling her hair, you know, calling her names, etc. They're like, this guy is a piece of trash. I remember even Awaken with JP, who I love, fell for it. He was like, I just watched a video of this guy slapping someone around. He's like, this guy's a piece of trash. I was like, guys, as a matter of fact, that's when I watched it. After he said it, I was like, really? And I watched it. I was like, oh, okay, so this is role play. 100%. This is role play, is what I said when I watched it. Now, the girl in the video has come out and she is making a statement about that incident as well as the current arrests, which is obviously very notable because, as I just found out, she is one of the girls that lived in the houses for multiple years. Okay, so she lived in one of these houses. The whole thing that is going on right now is that Andrew Tate is accused of basically locking these girls away in these homes, forcing them to cam, okay? And then if they wanted to leave, they couldn't, etc. And this is one of the girls that lived in these houses, who was also the girl in the video that everyone used to discredit him initially as like a bad person who beats up girls. Okay, so we're gonna watch that in a second. I'm not gonna spoil it for you and tell you whether she says good things or bad things, but that's what we're gonna watch. But before we do, super quick, like I say in every single video, the agreement that I make, this is obviously for, by the way, this is for like new viewers. I apologize if you're someone who comes back and you hear this in every single video, but you know, growing the channel is you know, the main goal that I am thinking about as I do these. So I have to say this in every video. So if you're new here, the agreement that we make, handshake, is that if you're going to watch my content, please subscribe to the channel. It's free. It literally takes you 1 second to click, and then I give you free access to all of my content that I work very hard to make. Everybody does it. The channel has grown exponentially since I started saying this, and you know, don't be an outlier and just steal it, because that's for why. Steal it because you want to avoid clicking subscribe just to be a prick. Anyway, so thank you guys very much, and we're going to jump right into this thing. Now I'm going to show you guys this video, and then I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you a very long form after this. I'm going to give you a very long form explanation of the Andrew Tate situation as I see it now. That because I really flushed my thoughts out last night on my Jesse on Everything video. If you don't follow Jesse on Everything, it's my other channel. It is a better channel than this one. But, you know, I really spoke about how this was going to look in court. And we'll talk about that again in a second, because I think it's going to be a spoiler, assuming that this actually does go to court. But for now, let's watch this really quick, and then we'll discuss. Boom.
If you don't live under a rock, then I'm pretty sure you know that Andrew Tate has been arrested for human trafficking and which is absolutely absurd, simply for the reasons that it's absolutely false. I have lived with Andrew for years and years, and he would never do anything like this, ever. I've already had to make 2 videos regarding his innocence when it came to him being called a woman beater for a video that got leaked of us two having a little bit of a rough role play. I had to make a video clarify, 2 videos in fact, clarifying that he is innocent. And here I am again, coming from somebody who lived with him for years. He is not a human trafficker. He would never rape anybody, and he would certainly never ever human traffic anyone either, including his brother. They would never do such thing. I am just so shocked, and I'm so fed up with all of these lies talking about Andrew, that he's a woman beater, that he's a human trafficker, he's raped somebody. It is so false. It's so false that it's upsetting. Even though we're no longer together, it upsets me because I know the person I have lived with. I know who he is, and he is neither of those things, and he does not deserve any of this coming his way.
So you guys get the point, right? So she says they're no longer together. She's obviously vehemently defending him. Now, is it possible that they, you know, put her up to defending him? Sure. But I mean, it's also more likely that she's just defending him because she's like, yeah, this is nonsense, right? And they're not together anymore, which means that, you know, it's not like she's like an active girlfriend. Like, you know, sometimes like in Scientology, like these terrible stories come out about what it's like to be in the Sea Org in Scientology. And then all of a sudden you'll have like these members of the Sea Org go on television. All David Miscavige would never do a thing like that. Like David Miscavige is like the czar of Scientology, and he is an actual psychopath. He's 5 foot. Okay. Like imagine Josh Fabia if he literally was in charge of the entire religion of Scientology, and all of those people believed that they wouldn't get to heaven if it wasn't for his blessing. And then what he used that power to do was to just slap people around, beat them up, and like victimize them, lock them in places for years at a time. Like he's an absolute psychopath, David Miscavige. And so as these stories started coming out, he started putting out press, which were still captured Sea Org people. And they come out, David Miscavige is a great man. All he does is help people. He would never do these things. And, if you watch the Leah Remini show, it's just so consistent. They're like, no, he's a psycho. He poked my eyeball out. And, but this doesn't seem like that to me, this girl. Again, here's the thing. So let me just jump to the part that I was alluding to, that I talked about last night. So this is obviously a good sign for his innocence. But here's what my concern is for him when it comes to how this plays out in court if they did charge him. Okay. What is the accusation? The accusation is that he is keeping girls in these houses and forcing them to cam. Okay. Now I'm going to switch gears and just tell you what I have personally heard him say that he does. Okay. So he used to sell a program called, I can't remember, but it's like the Hustlers University, except it's like closed women university, which, by the way, proves that this guy knew exactly who his target audience was all along. But so it's like, my job was to make women fall in love with me. I would get them to fall in love. They would come over, and then I would say, get rich with me. And, Cam, and I had lots and lots of girlfriends. So that's his story. Okay. That's his story. Is he gets girls online to fall in love with him. They come to Romania, and then they, whether or not they knew he had multiple girlfriends at the time or not, one way or the other, they find out that being one of his girlfriends requires them to do cam work. Okay. Now I'm sure that he doesn't, there is certainly a way that you could sweet talk a girl into doing that, where it's not some kind of like, grab him by the back and neck and throw him into a room. But if they go into that work under the pretenses that they are his like romantic girlfriend, okay, I'm just trying to have people imagine if Andrew Tate, you guys know who he is. You guys have seen plenty of him. He seems to be basically himself on camera, right? Just imagine him if one of his girlfriends and employees is like, I don't want to do this. I'm not working tonight. I don't want to do this, Andrew. You know how fights with girls are? Like, how fights with your girlfriends are, right? I still remember what that was like before I was with Gabrielle. But, think about how that can play out, where it's like, dude, show some responsibility. Get in your room and do your work. Okay. You're a member of this. Get in your room. I don't want to hear it. Like, I don't want to hear anything more from you. Go in your room and do the work. That kind of thing. Right. So think about how that will sound to a jury in the event that this does go to court and you get like 6 girls who have left that situation, have decided in their mind that they were victims, as people do. If they, that's like a natural thing to do. Like people who are not naturally very strong, if they get around a strong person and they end up doing things they might not have done before, like otherwise, and then they get out of that situation, they will concoct this whole thing of victimization. You see it everywhere. It's very seductive to say that you're a victim, right? Now, whether they were actually a victim or not is irrelevant, because they will tell themselves that they were. And then when they go in and they start telling these stories that are true, the way that you tell the story will be nuance between human trafficker and boyfriend telling his girl that works for him that she just has to go to work tonight. It's your night. You know what I mean? Think about it like this. Like, you're on a schedule, right? Like, he's running a company. There have to be a certain number of cam girls working out all the time in order to fulfill demand, right? So let's say you got 30 girls, okay? And 8 of them work, 10 of them work in a night, okay? And then 2 of them are like, I'm not doing it tonight. It's like, no, yeah, you are. No, I'm not. Yeah, you are, okay? Now, I have no idea if this is how it works. I'm just saying it's a job. It's a job that you agreed to, right? And so now a girl is saying, I don't want to work. You are going to tell them, well, you have to fucking work, dude, because now you are now my employee, not my girlfriend, but I'm still kind of talking to you like my girlfriend. Get back to work, right? Now think about that through the eyes of, he forced me to stay here. I didn't want to do it anymore, and he forced me to stay. Like, there's a way where this can get like twisted into a thing that will sound very bad. That would sound bad. And, you know, that's that was my thought last night, was like, there is a way where this sounds really bad when maybe it actually wasn't, because things get super mixed up in romantic relationships. You know, like I remember, man, I used to get in blowout fights with my girlfriends from college. Like I had girlfriend, you know, like my girlfriends in college. I was how many years was I out of college before I met Gabrielle? Maybe like 3. I think I was out of college for 3 years. And then I met Gabrielle. But like, I was still primarily seeing girls that I was together with in college, and then a few girls, you know, outside of college. But like, they were drama, dude. They were drama because they weren't, you know, good girls or whatever. And like, and I was wild. But it was like, I mean, you know, if I described some of these fights, you'd be like, Jesus, I can't see that. I can't see you interacting in a thing like that. It's like, dude, it's because it makes you crazy. It makes you completely crazy. You get home and someone starts screaming in your face. You respond in kind. You know, it's not easy to stay calm if a person literally like with every bit of their passion is yelling at you. You know what I mean? So those situations could literally be construed as not sounding good, you know? Anyway, but it's the news, dude. It's the news. And now I got a story to show you guys about Sharaputin what's his name? Sharaputin Magomedov. Okay. He beat the shit out of some guy in a mall. Beat the shit out of him. And it's all on video. I'm going to show you guys that. So anyway, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. Love you guys. Peace.